Welcome, everybody. Brian Burke here, the editor of the Music and Sound Retailer. Really pleased to have someone I've not gotten in touch with since the pandemic, but I really should have. That's Joel Menchey of Menchey Music Service. And first of all, thanks for joining us, Joel. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Sure. I want to first look, there's a lot we could discuss with you, but we can go to the NAMM and retail. But I want to start with NAMM. You're the incoming NAMM chairman. I know it's not officially announced yet, but the way it goes is that you will be next. And you're going to start in July. So first, tell me about the, you've been there for the NAMM board, I guess, for almost 6 years, right? So
Correct.
Talk about the honor of becoming the next NAMM chairman in July, and what's some of the goals are that you're going to set forth for the organization.
Well, thanks, Brian. It's been a great 6 years so far. Obviously, joining XCOM in 2015 just opened up, exposed me to so much more of what's happening in the industry. And as is the normal pattern, I started as secretary, then treasurer, and now vice chair. And what's neat, what's nice about the vice chair role, and this actually happened when Chris Martin was vice chair. The vice chair is now also the chair of the NAMM Foundation, which is the 501c3, which is now has really taken on a new level of importance. We are fundraising, actively fundraising, and so chairing that and having the opportunity to really sort of, with Mary Lurson's guidance, really work to expand our opportunities with the foundation. It's been a great 2 years. Obviously, the last 12 months hasn't been as great because we've had limited opportunities to really do it. But at the same time, the Believe in Music effort in January that occurred, what would have normally been around the NAMM show, really turned out to be a great fundraising opportunity for the foundation. So that's been fun. And of course, I assume that the next 2 years will be the icing on the cake and serving the industry in the capacity of NAMM chair. So it's been a great ride.
Yeah, great. Glad to hear that. What are you going to do as far as, it looks like you're going to start in which looks like an in-person Summer NAMM. I'm going to be speaking to Joe Lamont soon, but that is what he has set forth that his goal is. And there definitely looks like they're moving forward with a in-person show. So what is your thoughts about that? And what are you telling your employees as far as attending that event? I mean, what are your feelings there?
Excuse me. So, well, first of all, I think it's great that we are planning to go to Nashville in the summer. And as I'm sure you would agree, 18 months is a long time not to see your best friends. So I am optimistic that there will be a lot of pent-up demand that really will fuel the trade show. And we've not only we're not only having the NAMM show, but we're grouping together with a couple other partner organizations in the industry to really try to make it more of a week-long gathering. So I'm excited for the potential. Regarding our employees, if they feel safe attending the show, I think we would normally send 4 people to the summer show. I have no reason to think that we wouldn't do the same. Maybe even extend it to more, because we would normally send people to NASMD, which will also have a group gathering right before the summer trade show. So, as long as people feel safe traveling, we're prepared to send people.
Great. And here's a really tough question. Are you going to still be able to play at the Hard Rock Cafe for Summer NAMM?
My good friend Thomas Claxton will be the one organizing that. And I actually just did a podcast with him recently, and he assures me that if Summer NAMM is on, the Hard Rock Cafe gig will be on. So
Okay.
I hope he's successful.
Yeah, I love watching you there. It was 2 years ago now. Unbelievable. when we think about what happens. Last year was maybe one of the slowest years, so it makes it seem like 2 years is,
Exactly.
10 years or 12 years or something like that.
Exactly.
And tell me about also, less about NAMM before we get into the store. Your predecessor, Chris Martin, is it tough? I mean, usually as a vice chair, you'd be going around visiting places all over the world with a NAMM chairman, or at least having an involvement, in-person involvement there. Are you doing Zooms with him? And how hard is it kind of to coordinate that and to learn every role you're going to need to do?
Well, actually, as vice chair, there's limited travel. Chris, normally in the role of chair is when you travel with Joe and really meet those international relationships that have become so important to NAMM. And sadly, Chris didn't get the opportunity to do nearly as much of that. So I'm hoping there will be a little bit of a makeup opportunity with Chris. Chris has been a real trooper through this whole last 12 months, and been a good sport. We have what we could do, we did. We had we've met in person if we could, but it's been limited. What we have done is XCOM has met on a weekly basis, which is great. I mean, you certainly get to know these folks that you serve with in this 8-year window, but when you see them every week on a Zoom call, the bonding really increases, and we've really enjoyed getting to know each other even better.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about that, but about what wisdom he might impart on you. But instead, I just spoke to him the other day, and probably by the time everyone sees this video, they'll be able to view that one. So I asked him what advice he's going to impart on you, and so I'm looking at a sheet. I want to quote this exactly because I think you're going to love this one. Okay, I need to get your response. He said, "Joel, we all know you love spreadsheets, but use them sparingly." And he also mentioned a funny story that Joel's wife would tell about him is that he prepared a spreadsheet for the wedding. So can you confirm these? And what is your reaction to that? What he said about that?
Okay, well, first of all, I do have a love affair with spreadsheets, so Chris is right on that account. But I want to be clear that the spreadsheet I prepared on the wedding was not necessarily on our wedding. It was actually a spreadsheet documenting all of the weddings we attended when we were in our mid-20s. So,
Okay.
and by the way, that story is probably a lot funnier to people like Chris and me, and maybe you, than it is to my wife and her friends.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to. It is nothing. Has nothing to do with your wife, believe me. Or hopefully, people don't take it that way. We were joking about the spreadsheet, so I know it's something my wife loves. So I mean, it's funnier to me because she loves preparing spreadsheets, and I'm gonna say it. I don't want to normally go out and say it, but since we're getting the wives involved, I mean, she created spreadsheets on her dates before, like she married me. So I mean, so there's nothing wrong with doing that. Okay, I just want everyone to know that she had like pluses and minuses.
That's great. That's great. I have to meet your wife someday. That sounds like right up my alley.
Yeah, you guys definitely need to meet. So I just want you to know. But what should I sing, Lara or Laura? I'm trying to remember.
Laura, yes.
Laura, okay. Laura, I'm sorry if you took it that way, but I just wanted to have Chris Martin's comments. Had to get a reaction there. Okay. Well, with all seriousness, well, thanks, Joel. You were really good about it. All seriousness, let's talk about the retail store now. The retail stores. I'm sorry, you have 8 stores. 5 in Pennsylvania and 3 in Maryland. So it's kind of a unique market. And as an incoming NAMM chairman, it's going to be one of your battles, I guess, is that there you have some areas that are doing gangbusters during the pandemic. Guitar sales are awfully good, as we've seen with the data, and keyboard sales look good, and some other areas are at home recording equipment for pro audio type stuff. But then you have, I know you're also very involved in school markets and rentals and band and orchestra, which are trailing behind because we also don't have any live music market. So, so tell me how, what you've done. How have you kind of faced this and said, it's good that you have a diversified business model, I believe. So that certainly helps. But what have you done during this time to make sure that you keep remaining successful when you have these ups and downs going on right now?
Well, let's get the bad news out of the way first. As you already mentioned, the school music component of our business, like almost every school music dealer that I know, was challenged. I mean, we have stores, as you said, in Pennsylvania and Maryland, and the districts in both of those states had different philosophies on how they should teach. In most of our markets in Maryland, the students learned virtually this year. Obviously, that had an impact on new student enrollments. Pennsylvania was a mixed bag. We had some districts that actually did more in the fall of 2020 than they did in 2029. I don't understand how, but they did. And most of those were teaching face-to-face. But so it was a mixed bag. That was the bad news. The good news is, we're an 85-year-old business. We can obviously withstand, a year, even 2 years, if we had to, of that. What has been surprisingly resilient is the activity in our retail stores after we reopened in May and June. You mentioned guitars and keyboards, and we're not a big guitar dealer. We sell a lot of the guitars up to the $600-700 price point, but amazingly, we're selling a lot more of those. A lot of ukuleles, a lot of keyboards. In fact, if we could get more keyboards, we could sell more keyboards. That's frankly been the biggest bottleneck, is just product availability. But the stores have been resilient. I suspect, and I'm sure you're well aware, that while people were cooped up for a few months, they were looking for activities to occupy themselves, and learning a musical instrument seemed to rise to the top. So we're grateful that customers have done that. Probably the biggest challenge is trying to keep staff motivated and enthusiastic and positive during all of this. And I feel like our leadership team has done a great job with keeping people engaged and making it interesting, and just keeping people upbeat, because it's been a tough year. So we'll see what it looks like on the other side, but that's we spent a lot of time and energy on that.
Okay, great. And then, lastly, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. What is your looking forward to pre-pandemic? Are you pretty post-pandemic? Are you pretty optimistic looking at it business-wise and for the industry as a whole, when we can get out of this? It seems like it could be some excitement going on there with people wanting to go to live music events. I know I do. And perhaps this September, with the way the vaccines are going, we could see, although it's not available yet for young children, we could see a more normal school year, I hope. So are you pretty optimistic looking forward? I mean, it looks like maybe by the end of the year, we could see some real improvement here.
It's funny. It depends which week you ask me. I'll change my answer. But just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started to hear from some teachers who were concerned that next year may be as challenging as this year. And I don't buy it. I remember a conversation I was having with some industry friends last May, and we couldn't even fathom the possibility that schools wouldn't reopen this past September. We're in March right now, and things are going in the right direction, not the wrong direction. So I have to believe that the majority of the adult population who chooses to become vaccinated will be by sometime this summer. You raise a good point with the students, but I think even a lot of the students will be vaccinated. That's not to say that there won't be and shouldn't be safety precautions in the fall, but I think the world's going to look, at least this country is going to look a lot different once we get to mid to late summer. And I'm optimistic.
Good. Well, great. I'm looking forward to that. Just like everyone else is. So So fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, Joel. I really appreciate it. Love getting a few minutes with you. And good luck as the new NAMM chairman. I hope you're coming into a better situation than we've seen recently. So that should be a plus. And
Well, thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate the opportunity.